everybody! We are back once again with another movie review. I'm Tyler, and Tim is here with me once again. And we just saw Iron Man 3. This was a great movie. I am really looking forward to the summer season now that Iron Man has kicked it off for us.
Robert Downey Jr. and the Tony Stark character, he could be in any movie and make it good. He's sort of like, obviously there's other good parts of it, but just, you know, the man, you know, is on a mission. Like, you can't stop this guy. Every movie he's in is fantastic. Technically, this is the fourth Tony Stark, or the fourth Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark
role, yeah.
But they still have places to go with the character.
In this one, he's a lot more mellow and introspective. He's dealing with the fallout from New York and the Avengers experience, and just going through basically post-traumatic stress.
There's a lot more reevaluating of his character. We see him have a panic attack for the first time. I think that was a really good way to sort of kick the movie off. You know, he's off his game.
The way this is being marketed, it looks like it's much darker than it actually is. Like, I feel like they were trying to go, not necessarily Nolan Batman dark, but definitely grittier. Don't think it's too melodramatic and introspective. It still has a lot of light moments. Well, Shane Black takes over as the director, and he did a fantastic job. He did The Lethal Weapon, I think the first Lethal Weapon, right?
I know he wrote the film, the first one.
And Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is a highly underrated Robert Downey movie. Recommend you check that out if you haven't seen it already. But he has a great sense for action with his camera work. Just in general, his script is amazing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. There's a lot of tension, and you're constantly waiting for something, like basically the other shoe to drop, because everything that Tony goes through in this movie, something is taken away from him, and you're wondering how he's going to deal with this immense pressure and an enemy who is basically one step ahead of him the entire time. I really liked the way that they had Tony investigating the entire time. He actually gets out in the field and tries to solve the mystery of the Ten Rings organization and is on the run the entire time. So I like seeing him out of his element, kind of without his suit, powerless, and just surviving by the skin of his teeth, basically, and his wits.
In superhero movies, you learn more about the character when they're outside of the suit than when they are in the suit.
Yep.
And I think we do learn a lot about Tony in this movie. So the fact that he's not in the suit might not be thrilling all the time if all you care about are explosions. But in this case, I think like we do see him sort of having to be resourceful, which is one of like the great qualities that he has.
I think the relationship between Tony and Pepper was good, but I feel like there was more heart to it in the second movie. Like, the first one was the romantic flirtation and you knowing or wanting them to get together, and then 2, it finally happened at the very end after all the craziness they went through. But now where it's kind of, they're established as a couple, it's nice to see Tony trying to work out in a committed relationship, but it doesn't feel like they have that same spark or energy that they did in the first 2 movies.
Yeah, it's almost like we missed the honeymoon phase of their relationship. In this Iron Man, we have 2 villains, sort of like the previous Iron Man, where we have Aldrich Killian, who is a sort of mad scientist in a suit character. Then you have the Mandarin, who is quite unlike any villain I've ever seen in a film.
He's the leader of the terrorist organization known as the Ten Rings, and he instigates an increasingly dire level of challenges against the United States and Tony Stark.
Also, I liked the sort of like fire people. They burn so hot that it can burn his suit, and it's always nice to see villains having sort of a way to defeat the hero.
Yeah, they're on a level playing field.
Yeah, because in the previous movies, his suit is so far ahead of anything else that anyone has that there's never really any threat.
Whenever this comes out on DVD, there's going to be a lot of freeze framing, so you can find every single armor in action, because there's a lot of rapid cuts with them all doing different things, because they're modded to have special abilities, basically. So the way they fight is each unique, and it's really interesting to see them take on the superhumans. At this point, we're going to get into some of the spoilers for the movie, so if you don't want to know anything about it, just Stop watching now. The big reveal in the movie is that Mandarin is actually not a real person. He's in fact a character created by Guy Pearce's person, Aldrich, as a stand-in basically for this terrorist organization that he's made up for the purpose of directing people's attention away from all of his activities. And he's using the character, who is actually an actor, a British actor, he's using him just to basically play both sides of the field.
He's a very relevant villain, definitely.
In the post 9/11 era.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's definitely an Osama bin Laden vibe.
It would have taken a jumping through a lot of hoops to actually explain the Mandarin's origin if they wanted to do the classic version of the character, which actually I would have liked, but in the context of this story, it makes sense.
I would have liked to have seen more Mandarin. I wanted to see a standoff between
like
Tony and the Mandarin. I compare it to Bane and Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's better. It makes more sense in Iron Man.
Another criticism I had, there is a character named Rebecca Hall who plays a scientist. I forget what her character's name is, but she works on some formula. She's a botanist that helps grow plants and missing limbs, and she gives her research to Aldrich, and he's the one who turns it into the extremist formula. And there's a certain point where she reveals that she's working for Aldrich, and they kidnap Pepper and Tony. But then at some point she has a change of heart and decides to start working against Aldrich. But that moment, that epiphany for her, is so sudden and out of left field that there's no moment to process it or to actually understand her motivations. It's just kind of, I've been evil, but now I feel convicted and I'm going to change to good. And then she dies. So it doesn't really matter anyway.
In the conclusion of the film, Tony gets the shrapnel taken out of his heart, which then ends the purpose of needing the arc reactor in his chest. And I think that's sort of the overlying theme at the end is that he doesn't need Iron Man anymore. I feel like this is the last Iron Man film. He'll be in the Avengers 2. This is his last film under contract for Iron Man.
And they kind of show that with the closing credits. They do a montage of all three movies. So it seems like they're just closing out this saga with this nice little bow tie.
Yeah, I mean, it feels very final, but I can see them writing it into Avengers 2 that they need him.
Yeah.
They need him, they need a suit. He doesn't even need to wear the suit in the movie. Like, they just need him and his intelligence. And if he signs for another one, he's going to have to sign for another 2. So, and he's expensive.
Very much so.
And that's why I think they should just give him the money for the Avengers, because it made like $1.5 billion.
It's the third highest grossing movie of all time, so it's a pretty sure bet you're going to make your money back.
Yeah, like give him $100 million and you're going to be okay. Especially since the global market for these films is unlike anything we've ever seen before, and this is relatively recent in the last
American
4 or 5 years.
superheroes.
So like, who cares how much money you have to give the guy? I mean, this isn't like we're not negotiating Ryan Reynolds' return in Green Lantern 2. Like, these movies have made piles of cash.
$5 billion not to star in it.
They like buy him out and then get someone else that's 50 times better.